Okay, so I'm gonna be going over 5 things that I learned from the presentation. And this one's maintaining behavioral change. So in this presentation, so it involved this lady. She's a 26-year-old woman, and she was eating her husband's ashes. Her husband, his name is Sean. So this already on its own, I think one of the first things, of course, like quickly that I learned was just how much grief can alter our behaviors in ways that they might seem unrealistic, but this is how they're altering our behaviors. And so she's a great example of that. It's just not being aware of certain things and what they can cause over time. And so that was one of the things that I learned. And I really like the way that they were able to explain like positive and negative reinforcement, because so like the positive reinforcement, you know how we talked about it adds things, and it was cool how they talk about the therapist and how they try to add like a safe substitute like cornstarch or replace the ashes, anything like to replace the ashes, anything along those lines, or like to also use like edible substances, because that's when she feels comfort. So kind of like associate those two together so it can become something positive. And as for like a negative reinforcement, so it was like the second thing I learned was it was really cool how they also added the therapist input on there. And the negative reinforcement, obviously we know that removes an unpleasant stimulus from a desired behavior. So on here it talks about if she was to practice more self-control, more self-regulation within herself, then a lot of her or even that, but even like her family reducing a lot of the reminders of what is going on and what she's dealing with, because there's no distractions for her. There's nothing. It's just her in her own head and just constantly nagging at that over and over, and the people around her aren't making it any better. But yeah, just being able to have like less pressure on herself about these things. So I would say that's number 3. And and that brings me to number 4, positive punishment. As we know, positive punishment, that's discouraging behavior. So like as they requested on there, it would be like, if Cassie eats the ashes, that you must reflect on some journaling and actually like face what she's feeling, because that's exactly the problem. She's not facing it. She's taking it on these ashes and just trying to hold on to something that is unfortunately not here with her anymore. Which, if we kind of were to add journaling, it's like every time she has to explain how she feels every time she does something negative, and she knows it's negative, which makes it even more clear, like, hey, I really will have to do something like this. I really will have to change something like this, so that's also a big one. And so that was number 4. I think that was just really cool. I think all these are really good examples and how they just were able to all mix very well together to like create what is necessary here to learn. So this example was very interesting, but it was also very, very helpful in many ways. And so negative punishment tools, that's like removing a pleasant or value stimuli from undesired behavior. So this is number 5, so the negative punishment part. But it basically says that if Cassie eats the ashes, she loses access of enjoyable privilege. So she won't be able to be on social media, any technology-based things. So it's just kind of like having her go through those tactics to see, hey, is this going to be helpful? Is this going to change something? Is this actually going to do something? So just being able to do all of that too. I just really liked all these things and how all these techniques that we've been learning in class, you can basically add them into anything in life, that like even such a behavior, like obviously would be handled different. There's more to it than just behavior, there's grief, there's emotion, but just knowing that some of these tactics can be a foundation to the many more things that can be helpful is really fascinating and very amazing in many ways. So that was also very, very nice to hear. And it's crazy. So like all those things, the main reason why I want to talk about all those things is because they are things that can get very confusing. I think at the beginning of the semester, like positive punishment, negative punishment were always very confusing and they can be all over the place, but this was very, very well organized, very well audited, and very well understood. So yeah, that's why I was like, this eats. So no, yeah, they did awesome. But it was such a fascinating topic, and more things like this should be talked about.